Far-right conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has been ordered to pay nearly $1 billion to the families of Sandy Hook shooting victims. Nikki Battiste has been following this case, and she is outside the courthouse in Waterbury, Connecticut, with more. Nikki, good morning. Good to see you. What can you tell us?
Well, Tanya, I sat near several of the Sandy Hook victims' families in the courtroom as that verdict was read, and they were emotional, of course, but also poised. Several told me soon after they were in shock, but that this is the accountability they want Jones to face after enduring years of harassment from him and his supporters.
We, the jury, have reached our verdict as to damages in this case.
In less than 3 days, the 6 jurors decided that conspiracy theorist Alex Jones must pay more than $965 million in compensatory damages for spreading false claims that the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting was a hoax.
I let my voice be taken away from me.
Robbie Parker lost his daughter, Emily. Parker testified that a video of him speaking at his daughter's funeral was mocked by Jones.
I'm just proud that what we were able to accomplish was just to simply tell the truth.
Jones and his company, Free Speech Systems, were sued by 8 victims' families and an FBI agent who responded to the shooting over claims the company made millions spreading misinformation about the tragedy. Jones and his attorney maintained that the trial was a sham and an attack on his First Amendment rights. Though he was not in court, Jones watched live on his webcast. He cheered while the verdict was read, mocking the families and saying they won't receive any payments.
How likely is it that this will financially ruin or could financially ruin Alex Jones?
Well, one of the things that Alex Jones tried to do throughout this case was to hide his assets.
Jones' company filed for bankruptcy in July, but a forensic economist in a previous case estimated that Jones is personally worth as much as $270 million. Since this case will not have a cap on punitive damages, Judge Barbara Bellis will now consider how much Jones will ultimately have to pay. The fight also continues for Mark Barden, who lost his son Daniel in the tragedy.
And after each victory, Daniel's still dead. And nothing will bring him back. But everything that I do is to protect others from having to live this pain.
The jurors also determined that Jones should pay the plaintiff's legal and attorney fees. Alex Jones' lawyer says he will appeal the decision. The radio host faces a 3rd trial in Texas later this year over a lawsuit filed by the parents of another child killed in the shooting. Tanya?
Nikki, just devastating to be in that courthouse. Will these families ever actually see the money? Although, of course, for these families, the money is, beside the point. Or is this ruling more symbolic?
I think it's a question everyone has, particularly the families. How much of this money will they ultimately see it? I don't think anyone knows the answer to that yet. The lawyers spoke. There's a very loud ambulance. Sorry. The lawyers were speaking here outside the courthouse. And, as we said in the piece, Alex Jones' company has filed for bankruptcy. They've accused him of trying to hide assets. But they told me they will go after every single thing he has, his property, his homes, everything he has. So I think there's a long road ahead yet to see how much money these families do get. Tanya?
And, Nikki, what was Alex Jones's response to the ruling? Because, we're seeing reports this morning that he's not acting very contrite.
No, we saw a little bit in the piece. He was simultaneously casting the verdict live on his show in a split screen. And Robbie Parker, who lost his daughter Emily, was rewarded the largest verdict, $120 million just to him. And as Robbie was hearing that, he was breaking down, and Alex Jones was mocking him. And I think it's important to point out that Judge Barbara Bellis, the very judge that sat at that bench yesterday, she's seeing this, and she is going to decide what the punitive damages Alex Jones should pay yet. That is still yet to come. So she could decide it's $10 billion. It's up to her. There is no cap.
Right.
Tanya?
Right. And so, Nikki, you mentioned this earlier, that there is still a 3rd defamation case that Jones is facing in Texas. What more do we know about that one?
It's really similar to the first 2 trials. Alex Jones already had a trial earlier where he was ordered to pay nearly $50 million. This is the 2nd. The 3rd trial involves, as I mentioned, the parents of another child killed in the shooting. Again, defamation. So it's very likely that this total amount Alex Jones has been ordered to pay over the course of these trials is about to get even higher. Danya?
It's incredible, Nikki. These numbers sound so extreme, but really at the heart of this is families who've lost, children. And it's definitely, hard not to lose sight of that.
Yeah, and as I was sitting next to the families, I covered Sandy Hook 10 years ago, and I covered the Remington lawsuit where the family settled for $73 million last year, and so I've spoken with many of them over the years, and they've put up such a fight in so many ways, and they've changed the course for families in other school shootings. But as you said, and Mark Barden said to me, at the end of the day, and I think that's probably part of the emotion yesterday, while this is some semblance of justice, they'll never have justice. Right. They've lost children, they lost mothers, they lost a wife. It's unthinkable.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Nikki Battiste, thank you so much. We appreciate it.